All right, today we're going to dive into this really fascinating story from a writer named Mark Masahiro Hirayama. He's exploring this totally radical new way to engage with artificial intelligence. It's all about this idea of, turning a tool into a true collaborator.
So let's just start with this one big question, right? What if you treated AI not as a tool, but as an actual partner? I mean, really think about that. That single shift in perspective, it's pretty much the heart of this entire story.
Okay, Section 1, A Man and His AI. So, this is where we meet our main character, Mark Hirayama, and get introduced to his super ambitious project. He calls it the Shinkidan, or Shinkidan project.
Most of us, when we use AI, we ask it for pretty simple stuff. Hey, can you summarize this article? Or draft a quick blog post about productivity. It's useful, for sure. But Mark Hirayama, he's on a whole other level. He treats it like a mighty companion. He's asking it things like, connect spirituality and machine learning. What does that even look like? Or, get this, analyze my entire life's work and tell me what its core meaning is. I mean, it's just a completely different kind of conversation.
All right, Section 2 is the grand experiment. And grand is seriously the perfect word for this. You're about to see the enormous challenge that Mark set up for his AI partner, which in this case was Google's Gemini.
So check out this timeline. It shows that his whole Shinkidan project wasn't just a one-off thing, A quick chat with an AI? No way. Mark has been running these experiments, he calls them threads, for months, using newer and newer versions of Gemini as they came out. He was actually building a long-term relationship with the AI.
So, to get his 6th thread started, Mark basically fed Gemini the raw material of his life. First up, over 890,000 tokens from his X account, Twitter, going all the way back to 2007. I mean, just imagine that for a second. That's almost 2 decades of your fleeting thoughts, your random ideas, your observations, all handed over to an AI.
And, as if that wasn't enough, he then added this, a staggering 2.16 million characters from 81 of his long-form articles. He basically handed in Gemini his entire intellectual genome and asked it to find the core, the very essence of his life's work. Can you even imagine doing that? It's incredible.
Okay, on to part 3, an outer value mindset. So after all that, what did the AI actually find in this mountain of data? Well, it uncovered this philosophy that Mark had kind of been living by, but he hadn't really put a name to it yet. And that philosophy is the outer value mindset.
So Gemini basically helped Mark put a name and a clear definition to this idea, outer value intelligence. Here's the core of it. As AI gets better and better, all that average common knowledge becomes a commodity, right? Anyone can get it. So where does our real value come from? It comes from the stuff that makes us unique, our weird niche interests, our outlier perspectives, the things an AI can't just dream up on its own.
So to kind of get our heads around how an AI thinks, Mark uses this fantastic analogy. Just imagine the AI's brain is like a giant map of ideas. It's called a multidimensional vector space, which sounds complicated, but it's not. On this map, things that are related, like king and queen, are super close together, and things that are totally unrelated, like king and cabbage, are miles apart.
And this leads to a new kind of rule for the age we're living in. Mark actually coined a new proverb by updating a classic sci-fi quote. It goes, "The vastness of the multidimensional vector space and the density of the network determines superiority." So what does that mean? Basically, it's not just about what you know anymore. It's about how broadly and how deeply you can connect all the different things you know.
Now, a philosophy like this, it sounds great in theory, right? It's a nice idea. But does it actually work in the real world? Does it pay the bills? Well, that question brings us right into part 4, a victory for authenticity.
So really, can a niche, outer value philosophy actually pay off for real? Mark got the chance to put this to the ultimate test. He joined this trial program run by a platform called Note. And the whole point of the program was to reward creators whose work is valuable for training AI models.
And the result was honestly stunning. Even though he had low follower counts and not a ton of page views, the usual metrics we use to define success online, Mark got a payout of 11,475 yen. Now, this wasn't a prize for being popular. It was a reward for being unique. His niche,
outer value stuff was incredibly valuable as training data for the AI. It proved his whole theory in the most real, tangible way you can imagine. It was, as he put it, a true victory of authenticity.
And honestly, this is probably my favorite part of the story. What did he do with the money? What was his first thought? His immediate reaction was, with this, I'm buying the large wolf plushie. It's just this perfectly wonderful human moment, right? It connects this big, abstract, philosophical victory to something so personal and just joyful.
And that choice, it perfectly sums up his entire philosophy. He used the money for pure personal joy, getting that jumbo wolf companion, but he also used it for social good by donating to a marriage equality charity in Japan. It's all about having that range, you know? Spanning from the deeply personally meaningful to the universally compassionate.
So how can we take the lessons from Mark's incredible journey and apply them ourselves? That's exactly what we're going to cover in our final section, Part 5, Your AI Mighty Companion.
Okay, so Mark's whole experience gives us a pretty clear roadmap for building this new kind of partnership. There are 4 key ideas. First, treat AI like a wall-bouncing partner, not just some subordinate you give orders to. Ask for its opinion. Second, create your own personal expert by teaching the AI all about your unique passions. Third, when you get those weird, unexpected answers, don't see them as errors. See them as seeds for creativity. And finally, number 4, think of the dialogue history itself, that whole conversation, as a finished piece of content.
It really all boils down to this one single, powerful idea. Your unique experiences, your weird hobbies, that personal lens you have on the world. These are not weaknesses. In the age of AI, they are your absolute greatest strengths. They are the most valuable data in the entire world.
Mark discovered his outer value by building this incredible partnership with his AI. So, the only question left is the one for you. What is your outer value?